WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here in Germany, tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Today I have something from Dràm Mòr, a single malt Scotch, single cask, Deanston 9-year-old, cask number 95, 275 bottles in total. ABV is 51.4, which is a little low in my personal opinion. This was distilled in 2012, bottled on the 23rd of September 2021, and it was finished, important, in a first fill Malvasia Madeira finish. Whiskybase 197717. So over here in Germany, we're paying about 79 euros for this. Now, I'm going to compare it, as I almost always do, with this bottle, also from Dràm Mòr, this time a Glenmorangie. It's a 10-year-old. This is cask number 180. There was 273 bottles from this, and this is actually bottled at 54% ABV. So I've actually done a video about this as well. This is then Whiskybase number 197682. Very, very good. If I were ADH whiskey, I would have went America, but I can't do that since I'm over in Germany. So missing one of my glasses here. So it's Scottish anyway, so I guess I'd have to go Scotland, which I can't do since I'm an American either. Now, what's really weird is we have here, at least I do, it's called finished in first fill Madeira casks. Here I have finished in first fill Malvasia Madeira. Before that, it was matured in the finest oak barrels. Look at the two bottles. Look at the difference in the color here. Very, very light, somewhat darker. So Madeira is not Madeira. So just so my picture looks a little bit prettier, I'm going to get rid of that. Now, how long was the finish on this one? No one knows. At least no one has told me. How long is it finished on this one? I don't know either. So this Glenmorangie 10-year-old was about 75 euros. The Deanston 9-year-old was 79 euros. It's more. It's lighter. It costs more. This is darker and costs less. Even in the glass, you can kind of recognize a little bit of a difference there, yeah? So, now, what's going on here, I don't know. I do know Madeira is Madeira, and I do also know that Malvasia is the kind of fortified wine made from the Malvasia grape variety under Portugal's Madeira DOC. It is the sweetest, it is the richest form of Madeira, and is typically made in a style that contains more than twice the residue sugars found in the Madeira Cerquillo or the Madeira Verdejo. The next sweetest in the spectrum is Madeira Bual, B-U-A-L. So, I am not a Madeira expert. Now, since we're going to be talking more about Deanston rather than Glenmorangie, what I've started to do is I've started to create my own little spreadsheet with all the information about a distillery. I think that's kind of cool. So we have the owners of Deanston, which are Distill. We have the Highlands. We have this 1965 is when it was founded. It's an active company. A distillery has over 3 million liters in capacity, but at the moment it's producing about 2.3 million liters, which is not bad. It's the water source is the River Tyte, and they only use Scottish barley. Yay! Very, very nice. So there is no peat used at Deanston. Very, very nice as well. So the mash tun, they have a stainless steel open top with rakes in it, and it's a 10.5 ton then mash tun. Now, how many washbacks do they have? They have 8. They're stainless steel. 4 of those have steel lids. 4 of those have then wooden lids. And they're each and every one of these 60,000 liters. So that's a lot, to be honest. All right. So the fermentation time is 85 hours, and they have now been working 7 days a week since about the middle of 2021. Now, they have 2 wash stills. The wash still is 10,000 liters. So if you have a wash back of 100,000, well, in this case 60,000 liters, sorry, 60,000 liters, you can put maximum 10,000 in your wash still. You're going to need 6 times you're going to have to distill to get that one wash back empty. And they have 8 of those, so that's why they can actually run 24/7. Usually the bottleneck of a distillery are not the pot stills, it's almost always the washbacks. But they're big enough, and there's enough of them to keep that thing going. So they have 2 spirit stills with 8,500 liters. So if you take a look at the normal wash that you have, you take a wash still, you put 10,000 liters in it, and you distill it, you're going to get about less than half that you're going to put into your spirit still. So, all right. Now, the heat source is a steam coil underneath. They're totally autark. They produce their own energy, their own electricity. Now, I don't think that they actually use that electricity to produce the steam. That's something I need to find out as well. If someone can comment on that, that would be great. I think they still use oil to produce the steam instead of electricity. So if Deanston really wanted to be a green distillery, which it could easily be with it producing enough of its own electricity, it would actually have to convert the steam boiler into an electric steam boiler. All right, so condensers are tube and shell, and what is really, really interesting is I found one quote online that said they only produce about 15%, they only use 15% of the whiskey they produce for their own single malts. That means 85% of Deanston is sold to the blending industry. Now, that might today only be 75%, but that's still a heck of a lot. All right, so they have a visitor center that's been in operation now since June of 2012. I've been there twice. Beautiful, beautiful place. If you ever go in that area, go to Glengoyne, visit the distillery, then go up to Deanston, go there and eat. They have a beautiful, beautiful cafeteria there. Used to be an old cotton mill. They have great people. They have great food. They have haggis. They call it haggis bonbon, little pieces of haggis that they actually do there. People that were with me last time in May loved it thoroughly. And they have their own nice little warehouse. Now, there's one thing I forgot to mention, 2 things I actually forgot to mention about the pot stills. The pot stills have ascending line arms. So it's going up, so it's very difficult for the spirit to actually reach the condensers, which means that it's a lighter spirit, and not just that. The pot stills actually have a boiling ball. So you have the pot stills down here, you have the little bit of that very nice tall neck, and then you have that boiling ball, which expands, which means the temperature drops, which means the spirit falls back down. There's a lot of reflux going on here. There's reflux in the boiling ball, there's reflux in the line arm. You're probably going to hear the word reflux in the next year and a half a lot. All right, good, good, good. So let's take a look at the Deanston here. On the nose, sweet. A honey melon sweetness. There's a little bit of vanilla. There's a little bit of that barley sugar going on there. This is, for me, a summer whiskey. This is very, very nicely done. It's not overly complex. It's got a nice sweetness to it. It reminds me of a nice, sweet white wine. 51.4%. Interesting enough, the packaging says here, matured and finest oak barrels, cask strength. Nowhere on the bottle do I see the word cask strength. Do I have anywhere on this bottle the word cask strength? No. Neither do I have it here with 54%. Because I really think that the 1.4% is a little bit low for a 9-year-old. So, nope. Always enjoy this fine malt responsibly. Product of Scotland. Glenmorangie, 10-year-old, nowhere does the label say anything about this being cask strength. Unfortunately, nowhere does it say anything about natural color. Nowhere does it say anything about non-chilled filtering. Dràm Mòr, just going to say it in my personal words, up your game. It's no problem to put natural color on here. You're doing single cask anyways. It's no problem to put here on the bottle the natural cask strength. No problem at all. And there's no problem at all putting non-chilled filtered. All right, so those are the things we geeks are looking for. Maybe you would actually sell a few bottles more if you were to actually disclose that information. All right, so the first film Madeira, which is much darker from the Glenmorangie, it's got a little bit of a chalkier moment. I don't know how to explain this. This is fruity, and this is more mineral. It's got a more of a milk chocolate moment. Milk chocolate? Honey melon? Almost a white chocolate. Fruity? Yes, a little bit. That is a different fruit. It's got a little bit of a honey moment going on here. This has the honey melon, and this has the real honey. All right, 54%, 51.4. Cheers. By the way, Dràm Mòr, if you ever watched the video on your website, that is Dràm Mòr Group. Your whiskey here is actually, there's a little bit of a mix of the numbers. You wrote down 54.1, and the bottle says 51.4. So you might want to change that one day and update your Autumn 21 collection there. Cheers. This is a 9-year-old whiskey. It starts off okay. It actually increases a little bit with that nice little Madeira sweetness, and it actually ends a little bit deeper down on the average level because of the alcohol youthfulness here. Now, why did Dràm Mòr bottle this whiskey? It's a very philosophical question, isn't it? Why do we bottle whiskey? Do we bottle this whiskey to make the fans of the whiskey world applause with recognition and with happiness? I'm sorry, no. They bottled this as well as this bottle at 9 and 10 years of age, respectively, to make money. They bought a cask. The distillery sold the cask to make money. Quick, easy money right away. So cash flow. So we did not wait 10, 12, 18 years to bottle it ourselves. They actually sold it and made cash. So the broker bought it, or maybe actually Dràm Mòr had the opportunity. They have been in business since 2019, Dràm Mòr. This was distilled 2012, so probably not. Probably it landed up with a broker first, and who knows how many different hands it went through before it finally made its way to Dràm Mòr, and they bottled it. Why did they bottle it at 9 and 10 years? Because they were like, hey, we want the money. So sorry to say so. So they were not going to wait 15, 12 further years. So they took Madeira casks and they put that spirit in the first fill Madeira casks, and they waited a couple of months. We don't know how many months. Is it a 1 month finish? Is it a 6 month finish? Is it a 2-year finish? Don't think so. Is it a 4-week finish? Could be. And then they bottled it. And they bottled it and sold it over here to Germany and to the Netherlands, to mainland Europe, to make money. And now we bought these bottles, or at least I did with my own personal money here, and I'm reviewing them, and I'm telling you that these bottles are good. Are they great? No. They're a C. This is a C plus on a good day. This is a normal C. Is it worth 79 euros, 80 euros of my hard-earned money? It's a D minus. There are so many other things out there I can highly recommend, where it says natural color, non-chilled filtered, natural cask strength on the bottle, at a price which is much better, which is somewhat better. The prices are at the moment crazy, unbelievably skyrocketing, so I have to be a little bit less here abrasive. Now, this, on the other hand, if I go over to Glenmorangie, 1 second, let's cleanse the palate. 10-year-old, 74. A totally different beast in the way that the Madeira actually interacts with this whiskey. There's a little bit of a bitterness involved here, especially a wood bitterness. It says here matured in finest oak. That's like a cop-out in my opinion. All right, so this is distillery wood that has been used more than once. So you have a first fill bourbon, you have a second fill bourbon, which is still called distillery wood, and you have a third and fourth fill. So you've actually filled it up 3 or 4 times yourself at the distillery. And you get rid of the barrels because, hey, you're producing 2.3 million liters a year and you need some cash, and so you do that. The color here is very, 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 I can actually see through this bottle and read my screen actually. And that's despite being in 2 different casks. And one of those was a first fill Madeira cask. So these were very inactive casks. And here I don't get the inactiveness, I get the woodiness and a little bit of vanilla. Here I get a little bit more of that that wood, that tired, that overused wood that becomes a little bit of a tannin problem in my opinion. So Dràm Mòr are doing some interesting good things. These 2 bottles from the Madeira, I'm going to call them the Madeira collection from August 2021, did not really rock my boat. As I said, with water, 2 drops of water changes a little bit, not to the best, but if you dilute this down to about 43%, I think they could have actually sold this for a 43 or 46% whiskey at about 59 euros, and they would have had a lot of, they would have had some fans. But what do we want in Germany? We want possibly cask strength, high up volume as possible, and many people, not all, are willing to pay the 80 euros for that. Interesting enough, that Madeira cask sweetness, that honey melon moment, that light, savory, I'm going to even call it a white wine moment here going on, even diluted down to 43%, still shines through. The youthful alcoholic bite at the end is much more contained with the water, and doesn't really bother me as much as it does at 51.4. So, question of the day. 1, what is your favorite Deanston? Write it down in the commentaries if it's 18 old or new, please. And second of all, what is your favorite whiskey that has a Madeira finish or full maturation? WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here, tasting whiskeys you might not ever see, single cask variations in this case. And thank you very much for recommending me to others, liking, subscribing, and actually sharing. See you soon, WhiskyJason. Bye-bye.